what's our biggest barrier to creating change in our lives, be it personally or professionally? As an executive coach who works with technology leaders and leadership teams, I think, not surprisingly, we're our own worst enemy. And what's fueling our inability to create that change is really coming from our self-narratives, the stories that we have in our mind about what's possible and what's not possible, how an organization should function or not, how people should behave or how they should respond to you. And I think unless we really get a chance to understand where those stories are coming from and what are the patterns that are feeding them, they're just going to keep going around in our minds, kind of like a broken Rick Astley record playing again and again and again. Eventually, though, they're going to seep out and they're going to impact, at work at least, the decisions that we make, the teams that we pull together, how we talk to other people, the relationships that we build, and of course, at the end of the day, the products that we offer to our customers. So that's why I spend a lot of time with my coaching clients talking about their stories and trying to help them identify the patterns behind them. In order to do that, I use a coaching tool that I'm going to talk to you about today. It's called the Karpman Drama Triangle. And I want to make really clear that this framework was created by Dr. Stephen Karpman, who is a psychologist who lived in San Francisco back in the 60s. It was not created by me, but I use it the same way that he did and with the same intention to help my clients better understand the patterns behind their stories and how those stories might be impacting those around them and the work that they do every day. So when I introduce the Karpman Drama Triangle to my clients, I often do this hand gesture and let them know that there are really three kind of main storylines within the Karpman Drama Triangle. One is based around the idea or the role of a hero. The second is a victim, and the third is a villain. And I'm going to explain these different roles to you now. And maybe as I'm going through it, stop and think about a situation that you've got going on at work. And think about where are you defaulting to hero, victim, or villain. So the hero, I'm going to start with, because that's the role that a lot of my clients like to say that they default to. And why not? The hero is really the storyline that's aligned with what we think a leader should be. Somebody that steps in and saves the day every single day, right? Without breaking into a sweat. They've got everything under control, everything managed. If you've got a problem, if you're stressed out, you can't figure it out, go see the hero. They will take care of it for you. Really nice to have around, right? Well, yes and no, because if you're constantly going to the hero to solve your problems, you're not learning for yourself. You're not building up problem-solving skills. You're not showing any sort of curiosity or proactive engagement, right? You're going to somebody else to solve it for you. And the hero loves that. The hero, because it makes the hero feel like they belong in a very unique way. And they kind of get a hit from it, and they keep doing it again and again and again. But one of the other problems is that, well, the hero is going to try to take care of all your work and make sure everything is done for you because you haven't been able to figure it out. That means that their own work is going to fall through the cracks, right? Things are not going to get done. And when they do try to do everybody else's work and their own, it's a surefire path to burnout. It's not sustainable. So some pros and cons of that hero role. As you can imagine, the hero and the victim are closely connected, right? The victim is that role, is that storyline that we all hold at times when we feel like things are helpless or hopeless, that you can't get anything done. You're just stuck. It could be a storyline or a comment that you've made in the past about, I can't go talk to customers. We're not allowed to talk to a customer, so I can't do my job. That's a victim storyline. That's a victim statement in the drama triangle. Or I've asked marketing for that data 3 times and nobody will give it to me. Dear hero, can you go talk to marketing for me and get it for me? Because they're not responding to me. I don't know what else I could do about it. As I did say, sometimes we're all the victim. We've all been there. I know I have. It's a very human place to be. The challenge is when we get stuck in that role as a victim and that we become over-reliant on the hero. Now, the third role that I mentioned is the villain. And the villain, I call the chief finger pointer, because the villain is the one who's going to say, if you would have just listened to me, dear hero or victim, everything would have gone great. We'd never have any problems, right? They like to point fingers at other people, and they don't like to take any blame. They don't like to take any accountability. If you would have just listened to me from the beginning, we'd never be in this mess. If leadership would just take on my feedback, this all would have gone really well, but they didn't listen to me, right? It's everyone else's fault, but not the villain. So the three of these roles together, victim, villain, and hero, are quite powerful. And according to a lot of the research, they convey and they represent about 80% of the stories, the self-narratives that we have in our mind. They are there for a specific purpose, though. And according to Karpman and the research he did, they're there to help protect us, to help keep us safe. You know, in the olden days, we might have thought about the cave, in cavewomen and cavemen days, we might have thought about the snaggle-toothed tiger that was chasing us. That meant we better get running home if we want to make it back to the cave for dinner. Today, our mind and our environments have evolved in a way that now we have stories that when we're in the midst of a conference room and sitting down to a meeting with our colleagues might warn us that our manager might not have our back, or the stakeholder at the other end of the table isn't really listening to us and taking on board our feedback. Our responses are different. Our responses are more and more stories that continue to build to keep us safe and to protect us. And the thing is, well, we might default to one of these storylines, hero, victim, or villain. Our minds can shift between them really quickly. And this is where the drama part of the drama triangle comes from, according to Karpman. You could go into a meeting thinking you're the hero. I've got an agenda. I know exactly what we need to get done today. Everybody just listen to me and we'll get the work taken care of. Halfway through that meeting, you might feel like the victim because nobody's listening. You've lost complete control. And then you might leave feeling like the victim, pointing fingers at everybody else, saying, if you guys would have just listened to me, we could have gotten this taken care of in this meeting. All of this is normal. All of this is human. All of this, we have the power to actually better understand and to transform into a different type of story. Because if the mind has this capability and ability to create stories to keep us safe, it also has the ability to create stories to take us into completely new directions. And in the next video, I'm going to tell you more about what that might look like. So for now, do some thinking, do some reflecting. What's your default storyline in a situation that you might have going on at work? What's triggering that? Where's it coming from? How do you respond when that story is taken over? Take some notes, do some reflecting, and let me know how you're getting on.